that's how we're kind of kicking off the sort of narrative of the exhibit, is the story of when the Dead Kennedys played in Orlando for Jim and for Figurehead. And I think that's a good way to kind of convey that, the idea, because the exhibit's called Music and Mayhem. So I think that mayhem, for those who are completely unfamiliar with this, I think that'll be a good sort of, introduction to that world.
Well, after that show, I should have stopped doing shows, and that was 1986 or 85. So after that show, I should have quit.
I'm pretty sure I read an interview that you'd done back then, I think to maybe the Orlando Sentinel, where you brought that up, that should have been your first and your last show.
It was pretty horrific.
What was one of the things that you can share that happened that made it such like a legendary show?
Well, because, when I moved here from Pittsburgh, when we did shows like that up there when I was in high school and college, Pittsburgh was the epicenter of like Cleveland. The most you would get at a show like that was 200 people. And when I did Black Flag on Super Bowl Sunday, I thought I would get 200 people. And I kept telling Henry Rollins, maybe 300 people, because it was Super Bowl Sunday. And it's the only day they could do. Like, I go, guys, how do you expect me to get people to come out on the biggest sports event of the year? And they're like, that's the only day we have, because back then they only had so many days you could just tour. They were touring every single day. And that show should have warned me that we had like close to 2,000, and it was mayhem. And then right after that, I did the Dead Kennedys, and I couldn't find a place to do it. And I rented Syrian Lebanese Hall under the guise that I was doing a friend of mine's 16th birthday party. And that went really south from that lie. And there was literally like, that place hold maybe 800 people, like 2,000 people showed up.
Wow.
It was bad. It was very, very bad. There was no stage. It was like 6 inches off the ground. You couldn't even hear the sound. And Jello was hysterical because Jello, the whole show was mayhem. It from start to finish. Like, the icing on the cake was sitting there crying and watching someone carry the kitchen sink out of the venue. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It was like an anomaly of like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah. And that does sound like mayhem.
It was mayhem.
How did that follow you reputation wise after a show like that?
The Syrian Lebanese community was not very happy. And I paid all the damages to the teeth. I paid every dime. It didn't reflect anything because people are so starving for music.
Right.
You just kept finding different venues. So it didn't deter 1 inch from me doing shows. So